World Cup just a week and a half ago. Same with Lee Ho-ching against Kasumi Ishikawa. But here in this best of 7, Fan Zhendong starts with the serve for a point. That's what you're dealing with Fan Zhendong. Your opening attack doesn't really test him. I think he's got to be the most explosive player in the game. That one goes a bit wild, but he fishes one up. Very rarely do you see him turn down the volume for a moment. He's a pedal to the metal type of guy. Well, you see him tapping his lower back there with his hand. Still, he's only 20 years old. It's tough to imagine the body taking the sort of pressure Fan Zhendong puts on shot after shot, rally after rally for years and years. And it's not just the speed of his racket head or the stomping of his feet. I mean, you'll see him jumping in the air. You'll see him leaning way out of the way that would snap a lot of people in half. Just keep your eyes out during this match for rallies and shots that Fan Zhendong has where he bends in a way where you'd end up in the hospital. I know I'm not the only one watching thinking the human body just doesn't do that, right? Fan Zhendong has had some difficult matches along the way, though. Patrick Franziska in front of the home crowd gave an excellent match. The Fan Zhendong, I believe, took 2 games off him. Yep, 4-2 for Fan Zhendong. After that, Fan Zhendong beat Zhou Yu 4-0. Fellow national team member from China, left-handed. Good setup, serve deep to the middle of the table. Follow up with a quick attack. Okay. Heavy underspin pendulum serve causes some trouble. Fan Zhendong cleaning the top sheets of rubber. It's interesting how often some of these players change the rubber on their racket in tournaments every day. Taken care of sometimes, others will set up and prepare the rackets. That's why players need absolute consistency, or as close to absolute consistency from their equipment as they can get. If that ball comes down on Fan Zhendong's side of the table, it's still in play. Net clamp considered part of the net. Back edge of the table. Now, from the start of this, it looked like Kenta MATSUDAIRA was just simply going to be outmatched. But right now, it's a 2-point game. Again, Fan Zhendong, if you get some pressure on him, could tense up a little bit. We've seen him under pressure before. And while he's been extremely successful in table tennis against some of his teammates, against the dictator, Captain Long, pressure starting to build. MATSUDAIRA with a second serve here and a chance to tie it up. There it is, beautiful backhand, a lot of power coming in, but with the pace, he plays the angle back, doesn't have to add a lot to the ball. Short stroke, quick reaction time, and a clear mind for where to go. Wow. A little bit more racket speed on it than I realized in that short stroke. So, ooh, This is interesting. So this is one where Shot Spot or Hawkeye, no, okay, they say outside the table. It appeared that the ball went down. He's outside the table. That makes a lot of sense. So hits the side of the table. No conversation. And that's interesting. Matsudaira was on the other side of that situation once before. 2 game points for Zhendong. And a quick escape turns it around. Zhendong 11-8 in game 1. Takes down Kenta Matsudaira. We'll be back for game 2 right after this. Back for game number 2. Kenta Matsudaira with the serve here to start. Zhendong really, after he goes to that lower back, trying to stretch and stay loose. Remember, he's only 20 years old. Well, that's interesting. I can't remember the last time I saw Zhendong do that serve. He's changing to the shovel serve a bit. Interesting, interesting. He has definitely had some time away from the international scene, so you could imagine that he's been in the lab, so to speak, at home in China, developing some new strategies and techniques that keep him unpredictable. Hey, there's Rockadino flirt. Whoa. Well, who's chasing who here? If that shot comes down, he's got his back to the table and he takes that risky, throwing a frisbee style backhand shot. All right, Rockadino rocking it. Nice. So I just learned that Rockadino is actually, whoa, hey, well, that's unnecessary, man. I guess when you wear a soft padded costume like that, you've got to be, wait, what did I say? Sorry for anyone who didn't know. Anyway, I was going to say that Rockadino's collecting money for DKMS, raising money for charity to help develop a cure, help fight DKMS. So very cool, philanthropic dinosaur. I'm very curious just the way Zhendong's been playing and the way he's been holding his back and stretching it out a lot. He's fighting so hard for every point. You know, we saw Zhang Jike the other day. And it was tough to watch. I mean, it was clear that he was not able to play. He was barely able to move. He still made some quality backhands. That was about it. Zhendong still on his way up, has years and years to go in theory. He's 20 years old. Oh, man. Zhendong will just loop and rip one after another. Send him anywhere on the court, no problem. His passport is ready to go. I'm still thinking about those backhands. And then finally, he's got a little extra time, brings the racket back behind him and straight down the line. Look at the stance here. Kenta Matsudaira not moving. They're both on one side of the table. This is pretty unusual. Typically, a player in Kenta Matsudaira's position would move a little bit more centrally on the table to cover the odds, cover the angles. Excellent counter, good timing here. Matsudaira not afraid. This is part of the development too. When you climb in the world rankings and you realize you still have a handful of players left to beat, but 60 to 70% of them are from China, you realize you need to take the ball early, you need to play aggressively off the bounce, and the only way to gain confidence is to try something more, just do it more. How else on earth could Kenta Matsudaira get more comfortable playing fastballs off the bounce than playing fastballs off the bounce? Of course, practice, all training, but also out here when it counts. The power coming in, it's definitely difficult to control. Speaking of power, Wang Hao, one of the best backhands in the last few decades. And the best penhold backhand we've seen. Beautiful down the line shot. Fan Zhendong with 5 game points. From the start of this game, it looked like it could be closer than game 1, but it seems unlikely at this point. So the solid flip there, the placement surprised out to the backhand corner. Even though the ball didn't come down on the table, Matsudaira with that very fanning backhand shot, the wristy side spin one, just in case. And this time he makes the contact, but to no avail. Game 2, 11-6, Fan Zhendong goes up 2-0. Stay right here, game 3, Fan Zhendong versus Kenta Matsudaira right after this. Back for game number 3, Kenta Matsudaira down 0-2, and it looks like a one-way street for Fan Zhendong right now. Let's see. Now from this camera angle, it's tough to tell the height of that ball, but it definitely looks like a shot that Fan Zhendong should be able to convert for a point. And now you can stop looking at the quads of Fan Zhendong. Damn! Unbelievable! Hooking ball right into the body on the backhand side, a counter backhand from off the table. This is fearlessness. I was thinking of Fan Zhendong as the warrior with the quads before the point, but these counters, look how far from the table Matsudaira is against the most powerful player in the game and still takes the point. A backhand-to-backhand rally, turning the corner. So bravery has a new definition. The standard keeps getting raised here. Quick off the bounce, but the net blocks the shot. These are the types of high-risk shots Matsudaira is going to have to take to compete with Fan Zhendong. 11-8 and 11-6 in the last game for Fan Zhendong. Oh, surprise! The big backhand comes off. The reaction time, not a lot. When he goes for it, it was the third? Finally, the third one to finish. but the placement too, it exits the side of the table. Fan Zhendong trying to keep the rubber on the racket. Just talking about how often they switch new setups. And not to say switch style of equipment or the, specific, but just the sheet itself, a fresh sheet of rubber. Really, the angles they're creating, the parallel shots under pressure. I mean, it's going to take a lot of resources studying Fan Zhendong for non-Chinese players to really have a chance to beat him. I think Cho and Ray, maybe 2013 or 14. The last time I can recall a foreigner beating Fan Zhendong. In Korea, actually. I'll get you the specifics on that in a moment, just to make sure we're not relying on my memory. Oh, break off the net. Little fortune here for Matsudaira. Still a long way to go. It's a long, dark tunnel. There's a light at the end. I think Fan Zhendong was much closer to the end of the tunnel, though. Oh, backhand like nothing. That just looked like he was feeding multi-ball to somebody else, but he played it down the line where Kenta Matsudaira was out of reach. Way down low, that's going to be a tough shot for Matsudaira to take. So it turns out it was the Qatar Open 2014 where Cho and Ray beat Fan Zhendong. So 2 serves here for Matsudaira. It's always fun to watch and think, what would you serve to someone of Fan Zhendong's strength? If you could serve anything. It can look like training out here for Fan Zhendong, and still it's so graceful and so powerful. Even Roccadino can't turn away. 11-5, so 3-0 for Fan Zhendong. He's looking to be in outstanding form. It feels like it's taken the time of 1 game, but it's been 3 already. Game 4, this could be finished before we finish this sentence. Let's see. Don't go anywhere. Game 4 coming up right after this. For game number 4, Kenta Matsudaira, tomahawk serve. I mean, the real trick is how do you keep Fan Zhendong from getting that opening attack? And if it is, if you have to let him get one, how do you make it softer, spinny, something that's not so deadly? There was the reverse tomahawk, a rare occasion. Ding Ning does it quite frequently, but Kenta Matsudaira right back up to win the point. Very rare to see that in the men's game. Not a bad catch there for a let serve. I should say not a bad receive and not a bad catch in response to that. Soft game, leave him at the back edge of the table. That's one way. The point of indecision is definitely a good point to put your opponent in, or situation to put your opponent in, place to put the ball. Oh, back edge of the table. Man, with the ball coming in that hard, Kenta Matsudaira, it's almost like he's running out of the way of a bullet here. One after another. Look how hard these are coming in. Across the chest, just can't recover that edge ball. If he recovered that edge ball, it'd be amazing. Second reverse tomahawk for a point quickly. I think Matsudaira is going to try to use that as much as possible. Occasionally mix it up just to keep his opponent guessing. But as soon as he does, he goes back to the tomahawk. Doesn't work out his way. So strong start here, first towel break of the game, and Matsudaira is leading. Better position than he's been in some time. In this match, I think it's the best position he's been in so far. Oh man, Matsudaira from behind the table, and with the leg strength and speed of Zhendong, he just comes in a little bit. You can really feel the pressure start to build. Watch him lunge forward on that. And he's getting fast. We're gonna have to stop calling him Xiaopang and call him Xiao Kuaizi. Little chopstick. For those of you who don't speak Mandarin, Xiaopang is little chubby, which is said with affection, but Xiao Kuaizi, a fun nickname with some Weibo fans. Every time, 3 for 3. Really, when you have a serve that's working that well, it's like if it ain't broken, don't fix it. Well, that might not be proper English. I think the meaning holds true for a lot of people. One more time. No. But he gets the forehand in anyway. Good for Matsudaira. You just wonder, right? I mean, his percentages when he goes back to the traditional tomahawk have gone way down. So Zhendong with some work here in game 4 if he wants to end this in 4 straight. Still not out of the question. You can feel the pressure. It's like a ticking time bomb. If Matsudaira doesn't finish the point within so many seconds, his chances will explode. Wow. It's like speed a little bit. If this bus goes below 55, there's that shovel serve again. Zhendong has been bringing it out a lot. Oh, beautiful backhand right off the bounce. Following up the tomahawk serve nonetheless. So the last 2 times he's used that serve, it's worked out for him. He gets that passive first ball, maybe only gets 1 shot. Oh, caught off guard. The speed comes in. This is the first reverse tomahawk serve where Kenta Matsudaira hasn't won the point. For those of you unclear on which is which, he's using the black side, the backhand, for his reverse tomahawk serve, and the red side, the forehand, for the traditional, just the tomahawk serve. And a timeout here. I think this is a good timeout. Called by Coach Q in the corner. Says, let's make sure this one doesn't get away. Let's try to lasso this baby in. So the length of the serve, the height of the serve. Okay. I'm thinking, when do we see Zhendong playing push receives? And of course, the length has to be half long. If it's too short, Zhendong will keep it short. No easy. No easy. No problem and easy. There we go. That completely negated the meaning when I combined that. I will tell you from an equipment standpoint, having played with some of the Chinese national team rubber just a little bit, it's quite heavy and it's quite slow in the touch play. The ball doesn't go anywhere unless you come into it with a lot of racket speed. It's dense, hard and heavy. And Zhendong's got the touch for that. Ooh, surprise placement, wide out to the forehand. Again, quick early in the rally. So Matsudaira with a point right out of the timeout. Bit of encouragement here, and now he's got 2 serves on his racket. Ooh, the kick, the second bounce jumps a bit more side and top here. That tomahawk serve, 3 game points for Kenta Matsudaira. Oh man, that bending backhand, the windshield wiper backhand. That comes down. What a way to win the game. A lot of pressure too. This is something we've seen Kenta Matsudaira do before. 2 game points left. Ripping backhand to take it, 11-8. The match goes on. Game number 4 goes to Kenta Matsudaira of Japan, and game number 5, well, time will tell. It's coming up right after this. Stay here. Back for game number 5. Rockadino was breakdancing in the corner, at least up rocking a little bit. Zhendong leading 3-1. Matsudaira with a bit of hope here. It's that combination. Kenta Matsudaira has to be playing his best, and Zhendong has to be a little bit tense. It's the only way it seems that this one would not go to Zhendong. Excellent angle, a little bit of side spin on it. Just a reminder, this is the last time, I believe, of the day that there will be 2 matches at the same time, 2 tables. I was surprised. I thought he was going to go reverse tomahawk with that serve, but he hit it with the forehand. And deep to the backhand nonetheless. So surprise placement, the ball can go anywhere from either side. Ooh. Looked like side and top. I think it was more side than there was top on that. Zhendong tries to close and off the top of the net and out. Strong start for Matsudaira. Soft touch, but a patient Zhendong still spins it up on the table. This is strong use of a long push. Zhendong surprises Matsudaira, gets him to take one of those scoopy backhands from off the side of the body. A little bit out of position. And being out of position like that, he's investing in the next shot, just keeping the ball in play the best he can, but not so much of a threat. Burned. Wow, what a read from Zhendong. Watch this again. Not very high. Zhendong just comes into the middle of the table with that backhand cocked back and ready to go through. So Matsudaira with no timeouts was up 3-1, lost the last 3 in a row. This has been a successful ingredient here, this whole recipe. Well, a lot of good signatures there. Serving it deep to the backhand corner from the tomahawk, following up with the backhand cross court. Pattern that might only last a little bit longer against Zhendong. Backhand to backhand, Zhendong wins the majority of these fights with anybody in the world. Respect, that's what that look is. See, here's the thing, when you're chasing that ball, if you leave it inside the table too much, Zhendong wins the point outright on the next shot. So Kenta Matsudaira's responsibility is not just to get a racket on it, but to keep it as deep as possible on the table. A lot of pressure. Ooh, surprise. Changes up the placement for the tomahawk serve and a parallel bending backhand down the forehand side. Full of surprises out here, the anime prince, Kenta Matsudaira. So back to the old drawing board. What worked before was that serve a little bit deeper, but Zhendong has a little bit more time here. He's patient and opens up down the line to mix it up. Doesn't allow that third ball backhand to win the cross-court shot. Trouble again, driven off the table. There was one spectacular point, I think, early on in game 3 with Kenta Matsudaira behind the table. But in general, once he gets back there, very few players win points from way behind the table against Zhendong. So few that you could probably remember 2 of them right now. And if not, I'll help you. Xu Xin, maybe Vladimir Samsonov, but pretty rare. Those backhands, the quick ones, Matsudaira able to get it in his sweet spot. 2 in a row. Very subtle contact on that serve, even in slow motion. It's tough to tell what rotation's on it without following the ball. So down but not out, within 2 points now. Make that one. Matsudaira, he won the last game. Zhendong closer right now. Big point here. Oh, he had the opportunity, the long push surprise, and the first attack following that was so strong, but Zhendong brings it right back. This point, so good. Third towel break of the game. A little bit of table on the face of Zhendong now. And 2 match points. Long push works this time. We don't see Zhendong checking the racket too much. Quickly cleaning the top sheet of his backhand, making sure he's got full traction for spinning the ball. 1 match point saved, 1 to go. And that is it. Xiaopeng Zhendong moves on to the men's singles semifinals over Kenta Matsudaira. A strong performance from Kenta, but an even stronger one from Zhendong, who will move on. The world is ready to see world number 2, Zhendong, battling at the highest level once again. So welcome back to the international stage. Thank you for moving on to the next round, Zhendong. Stick around, we've got more coming up after this 4-1 victory you just saw. Stay right here, match coming up in just a bit.